Pickaxe.
Well, boys, what a momentous week or so for the Vidiots/Podiots.
That's
you
right.
Can't keep getting away with this. This is silly.
Yeah. Why, Ben? What happened? Tell us.
Well, you may have heard, those of you on Facebook may not have heard, actually, because we forgot to put a post out on Facebook about it.
Sorry.
We spoke to Brian Butterfield the other day. We're going to tell you the full details of that a bit later on in the podcast. But then Peter and I had our number called. That sounds like we were going to die. That's not what I mean. We had our number called to go and see Brian Butterfield live in Whitley Bay or Gravy Bay. And we did. That happened last night at the time of recording on Wednesday of this week. Mikey, when's your number going to be called?
It's on Wednesday of the week after week after this goes out.
So we'll be able to get your thoughts really soon.
Oh yes. I'm sure my thoughts will probably exactly mirror yours. So
Probably. Yeah.
yes,
It's a very exciting time to be alive, that's for sure.
I do want to clarify for the couple of people in the comments. That was not AI. That was legitimately Brian
Did
Butterfield.
people really think that was Brian? We were having a conversation. We were faking a conversation with Brian Butterfield.
Or someone doing a good impression, if not AI, then I think some people weren't quite sure. He just wasn't on. The reason he wasn't on camera because obviously he was on the road. He didn't have his makeup on. He's a good businessman, but he's a bit. I don't want to say he's vain, but he's professional in a stage sense, and he likes to have his bit of stage makeup on, and he didn't have his foundation with him, so he said he didn't want to. I don't want to go on camera, but it was him. Yeah.
It 100% was him the entire time. Again, we'll talk about that later. And I have a folder on my desktop as the host of the Zoom call. The folder's called Zoom. Inside there's a folder that says Vidiots X Butterfield, and then there's audio record in that. And if I go in there, there's a audio recording for audio Ben Potter, audio Michael Johnson, audio Peter, and audio Peter Serafinowicz, which I think it must be Brian's manager who set it up for him or something.
Yeah, it's like a roadie.
So we guarantee that was real, and we'll tell you the full story later. I can't believe people really doubted that. That's an elaborate hoax, isn't it?
Yeah.
I got a lot of work for 20 minutes of
work.
Promote someone else's show who wasn't even there. Yeah.
I tell you what, the anxiety before talking to him was real. Even if you think it was a hoax, we were very nervous. So,
Oh, man. Yeah.
We'll say more about that as we go.
Yes.
I did just want to, before we get to the podcast and the things, I wanted to just tell you about something that happened to me last weekend, or the weekend before, that isn't good enough on its own to be a thing. But I thought, hey, I'll tell you about it. Can I find it on my phone? Yeah, so I went to the Great North Run a couple of weeks ago when it was on. My sister ran in it. She did a very good job running.
Well done.
But while we were hanging around at the start line, ready to watch her go, and some guy from local radio who, the most I got was that I think his surname was Robson, but I don't know what his first name was. My God, he was fascinating. He was on a speaker on the microphone. I don't know if he was broadcasting as well. I don't think he was. He was just doing the actual sort of commentary at the start line. But I wrote down some of the things he was saying. Every time someone with red hair went past, he'd be like, "Oh, a couple more gingers here. The gingers are here." So he'd be shouting about the gingers. What? Yeah. Someone went past dressed as a lion because loads of people were doing fun run stuff, and he suddenly went, "Nags evenia titipu."
No.
Yeah, he did.
You can't do that. His name's Robson.
Robson, I know. He said he was saying that everyone was gan the Shields because the race ends at South Shields, so that's where they were going. Right. He said that he referred to someone who was running past the start line as Hung-y and Chung-y, which is not a very flattering thing to say. It's very rude.
Come on.
And someone went past with a turban on. It was a Sikh person. And he said,
it's
one of our fabulous Sikhs there. One of our fabulous Sikhs.
Okay. I mean, it's a bit Partridge in that he's drawing attention rather than being inclusive, but, it's well intended.
He said fabulous, yeah. People had their names written on their numbers, and he was going there's Dave, there's Sandra, and then he went, there's my more. I don't know, but I love a different name. I do. I love a different name. He loved a
Is
different
it
name.
Alan Robson, MBE.
It could well have been.
English radio presenter and host of the Northeast radio talk show, Alan Robson's Night Owls.
Maybe.
Oh.
One of the
Oh.
worst things he did, though, was he was like, oh, there's this guy here. He's doing a great job. He's even got a limp. He's got a limp. And I was thinking, is he injured, this guy?
Yeah,
or
should
is
we
that,
get help for him?
Or is that man, does he perhaps always have a limp and you're just drawing attention to it? And then he goes, oh, wait, no, I'm terribly sorry. He's only got one leg. He's got one leg. I was like,
Oh,
oh my God, what? Can you just check what you're saying before you just
Alan.
think, before you open your mouth? But the reason I even started listening to what he was saying was that all the way through, every time someone ran past, he was seeing what charity they were running for. But the way he was celebrating these charities, he was sort of mixed in with people's names as well. He was like, oh, there's Dave, there's Matthew, oh, Alzheimer's there, Alzheimer's, oh, kids with cancer, fantastic.
God.
It was really bad. Just occasionally, he would, in between people's names, he'd go, oh, brilliant, Parkinson's disease, fantastic. It was
God.
it was fantastic and
hell.
to listen to, as much as it was for him to see Parkinson's running past.
So he's like peak local radio then.
Yeah, and peak Alan Partridge. Just everything
Yeah.
he said was a faux pas, and yet he did it with the most positive voice. And I thought, that's I should tell Podiots about this.
Yeah, I'm glad you did. To be his producer, or to be a fly on the wall to see the producer just with their head in their hands.
Yeah.
Alan,
Oh no, he's
shut
not
up.
got a limp. He's only got one leg.
Oh,
Sorry about that.
Alan,
man.
stop
You
it, just
can't
be
comment
quiet.
on the physical characteristics of people out
No.
loud.
And you also
Stop it.
As much as you're trying to be nice, please don't say it's one of our fabulous Sikhs. That does not seem like something you should just be saying through a
If
microphone.
it is Alan Robson, he's in his late 60s, and that's not
Right.
to excuse it. Obviously, it's clearly really well-meaning, but he just shouldn't. You just shouldn't. Just
No.
shush. Stop it.
Kids with
Admittedly-
cancer, fantastic.
Yeah,
was a
fantastic.
sound bite.
God.
Not one of our shit Sikhs.
Yeah.
I never, like, obviously people go to the Great North Run to watch and spectate the people, I guess, who they know who are in the run. But like beyond like the minute where they pass, there's like, well, great, now I'm just watching people like jog past me. So I think
Yeah,
actually,
strangers.
like he give you a reason to stick around for a bit to see what he'd come out with next.
He
So
did. What we
credit-
were waiting was what we were waiting for my sister to arrive, so that's why we were there. But yeah, I could have stayed there all day and listened to him saying, "I love a different name, I do. I love a different name. Bunky chunky gingers."
Shut up, Alan.
Oh, brilliant.
All while that was going on and Alan was doing his nonsense, I was queuing very slowly through South Shields to get to the Tyne Tunnel so I could get home.
Oh dear.
And I saw the helicopters going past. I wish I could have heard Alan in that
Yeah.
moment. Wish I
Yeah.
could. Turns out I was in the wrong queue, the wrong fucking lane.
Oh really?
I was queuing for like 45 minutes, and then I got to the front of the queue and realized, oh shit, this is the turning to not go through the Tyne Tunnel.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Yeah, so that was at the end of a 5-hour drive. That was like that was just what I wanted.
My God.
Alan,
Please.
you colossal man, stop it. Well, boys, shall we crack on?
Let's. Yeah.
Yes.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Podiots, the official Vidiots podcast. It's a conversational podcast where we take some questions from you at home and obey the law of the 3 Rs, where everybody brings a
thing along to talk about.
I'm Ben.
I'm Peter.
And I just hit my hand off the desk in an attempt to point at the camera where you say, I can't remember what you said. I'm Michael. Hello. I'm here.
You okay? You doing all right, Mikey? You were a bit frazzled last time.
Yeah,
you
I
were.
wasn't frazzled, but now I've got a poorly hand now. I whacked it off my desk quite hard, but
No, what's
I'm
your
less
desk made
frazzled.
of?
Oh, titanium, sheer titanium. I went for the big
Jesus.
stuff.
You've broken every bone in your hand.
Heavy tables, but yes, I am less sweaty. Actually, no, I always have a glisten to me, which is really great when I've got a big light in front of me. So enjoy
Michael
it.
Sheen, if you will.
Michael. Oh, very good. Wow,
Very
that was
good.
very quick. Jesus.
That was lightning speed.
I was ready.
Ciao.
I was ready for that one. Peter, how are you doing?
I'm all right. I've also injured myself 5 minutes before we hopped on the call. I walked into my door handle with my hip. So with such speed and right on the point, so that everything was focused on a tiny area, that I crumbled to the floor and I lay on the floor for a minute going, oh, like that. But I'm all right now. But I'm going to have a real beauty of a bruise, I think.
Is it in your waistband, so it's going to be pressed on, or is it?
Yeah, it's right in my waistband.
No,
I thought for a minute in the sort of first few seconds afterwards, I was like, have I just like fractured my hip or something? It was really, really bad.
God.
I was going quite fast and just right into the metal door.
That kind of pain that like immediately makes you feel really queasy and unwell.
Yeah. It like knocked the wind out of me in a way. So,
God. The
What's your
danger of podiots.
Yeah.
What's your injury, Ben? What you done? What mischief you got up to?
Actually, I'm on the mend from a mystery injury. Maybe this is just what it's like to be in your 30s, but I woke up earlier this week and I felt like there's like a sharp pain in the ball of my right foot, the heel of my right foot.
Oh.
And I'm assuming maybe I managed to pull a muscle while sleeping. I don't know how, but it was uncomfortable to walk, and it's still a little twingy, but it's getting better. So I'm all right. I'm being brave.
Could it be a cycling thing?
No, because I hadn't. When I injured myself, I think it was Monday night, and I hadn't cycled since Thursday. So there was absolutely no reason for that. No idea. But big brave boy. We're all big brave boys, and we muscle on.
Well, how can people help pay for our medical bills, even
Brilliant
though we do
segue.
live in a nation with healthcare?
Not for much longer. Fuck the Tories. Yes, if you want to help us out, because Peter's going to need a new hip, Mikey's going to need a damp cloth. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm going to need
a kiss on the hand would be nice,
and a little kiss on the hand.
Yeah.
And I'm going to need a big shoe, just a really big shoe. You can go to podiots.com. That will redirect you to Streamlabs, and if you donate £3 or more there, you get a shout out at the beginning and the end of the next show, and you join Pod Squad, and we'll love you forever. We really, really appreciate it. It helps us do this flipping thing for you, and you don't have to. Obviously, there's no pressure, but it is an opportunity to submit a silly name or get your friend's name read out, or something like that. Give back a little. You don't have to, but we love it when you do. Mikey, do you want to kick us off?
I'd be delighted to. We begin with Viney Jones, the office grape. We're going straight. I need to give context to this, actually.
Okay.
So I assume this is someone who I saw Auntie Donna with.
How was Auntie Donna? How was Auntie Donna?
Auntie Donna was, very, very silly. Oh my God. I was like in hysterics, like hurt from laughing. Very good. Like,
I do enjoy them.
So much more improv than I expected. And it was just a magical experience. Yeah, really, really good. This is a silly bit of context, but we had a wine and cheese night in the office a couple of weeks back, and we had an assortment of grapes on the table, and I decided to befriend the smallest grape in the bunch, like tiny little grape. So I decided to call him Viney Jones after Vinnie Jones, and so I put him in my t-shirt pocket, and I carry him about with him everywhere I go now, and he's quite dry and shriveled. Somehow he might.
Yeah, become a raisin.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, he's survived the wash quite well, so I'm going to see how long I can keep him in there. Yeah, I forgot about him, and I put on the t-shirt. I was like, oh wait, Viney's still in there.
God.
My man.
My man. Thank you, Viney Jones, the office grip. We continue with Finn Tristram, Raindrop Joy, Fred Found What, Lord Woodpunch Mikey Tavik.
Whoa.
Woohoo! That was after me requesting being punched.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, good. That's all right.
Come cash me outside.
Yeah, you want to be punched? Has anyone punched you yet? Or?
Not yet. No, I'm trying to find.
the
Yeah,
The table.
Yes, I punched the table. Thank you very much. I'm still on the hunt. I'm waiting for the right fist to come around. Why did I?
Face, Mikey.
I should just learn to keep my mouth shut. I don't have to say the things that are in my head, but apparently I'm compelled to do so. We continue with Donak 07, Stephen Scordes, Domino's Pizza. Thank you very much.
We've also got Podiots are here. Time to wank.
Oh, God.
Hetty Bobetti, Petite Poistin, Ben Potato, My Cauliflower, Peter Poir,
Very good.
2 months juice cleanse, no poo. And anti-saxes.
Anti-saxes is very good.
It is good, yeah.
Yeah.
Finally, we have mandatory saxinations. I assume this is a riff on seeing the Hat Man after taking, what was it? What was the name of the thing? NyQuil?
Benadryl is
Benadryl. Okay. Take Benadryl.
Well, also we did the oh, sorry. Yeah, I thought you meant the one you just said. It's because Mikey did the inventor of the sax. But yeah, the one you're about to read.
Take Benadryl to see Hat Man. Take PCP to see DBP.
That's good. That's musical.
Yeah. Mr. Macca, the very, very, very generous Anna Silverstone, who said, "Hi guys, I'm the sister of Katy Karen, who donated to you 2 episodes ago. I just wanted to say thank you for your shout out and the way your content has helped me through my recovery and helped me laugh through all this. Thank you so much. You're very welcome. I hope you're feeling better.
At least, thank you very much.
I hope you're getting there. You're doing all right." And we've also got the equally very generous Stiff Bristles, who said, "I know you boys love Camel Case, but," and in all caps with dashes between them, "did you know that this is called Screaming Kebab Case? P.S. I love you, kiss kiss."
Kiss kiss.
Thank you very much.
It's good to put a name to a font, a text. I don't know. Anyway, thank you, Stiff Bristles. Thank you, Pod Squad. That is your Pod Squad for this week. We'll shout them out again at the end of the show. Podiots.com, £3 or more to get a shout out at the beginning and the end of the show. Do you guys have a favourite there?
Ooh, I laughed a lot at 2 months juice cleanse, no poo.
Yeah, that was good.
There's many good ones.
One are good.
Yeah,
good.
Peter Poir. That's very cute.
I'm going to go for Domino's Pizza.
Yeah. On brand for this week's
Take
episode.
PCP to see DBP is also very clever.
Yeah, that's another top-notch one. I like it.
A lot of good ones this week.
Yeah.
Good job, team. Keep it up.
Yeah, good work, everybody. Keep donating every single time. Thank you. I am podcast question boy this time, so I went out and found some things from you wonderful people and assigned them to Mikey and Peter and myself. Michael Johnson, would you like to start us off with your listener-submitted thing?
I would be absolutely delighted to. This was submitted by Darius Owen Canning on Twitter at Darius Canning, and this is a story from the Southern Daily Echo, and the headline reads: Hampshire wheelie bin found 1,200 miles away in Ukraine.
Wow.
This bin's better travelled than me, by God.
Yeah.
This is by Emily Liddle. Let's see what Emily has to say about a bin. A Hampshire wheelie bin has been found 1,200 miles away from home in Ukraine. I like the idea of bins having homes.
Yes.
It's
Long
the next
way from
Pixar
home, Bin.
movie, isn't it? This bin trying to get home from Ukraine.
Please, that would be great.
Sorry. Emily, you're off to a bad start here. There's already an egregious typo. Found close to the Polish border. Border spelled B-O-A-R-D-R.
Oh,
Come on.
no.
Come on.
goodness
If you're going to write an
me,
article about a bin, at
come
least do
on.
it properly. Found close to the Polish border. The bin from Test Valley Borough Council. Test Valley? Is that a real place? What the fuck is England?
Tees Valley? No,
Test
Valley.
Oh, apparently that's a
It's gotta be
place.
borough. Surely it's
Yeah,
gotta be,
I
it's
guess
gotta be a
Test
place.
Valley. Is there a river Test? I'll have to Google that.
Oh, okay. In brackets, it has TVBC, in case you were curious. It was discovered by journalist Philip Crowther. Philip, who works for the Associated Press news agency, took to Twitter to ask TVBC. Oh, they've abbreviated it, so I don't have to say Test Valley Borough Council all the time. Okay.
There is a river Test that flows through the Test Valley in Hampshire. There you go.
Very good.
That was the first one that God did when he was making the rivers.
Where's Final Valley? Philip, who works for the AP, took to Twitter to ask TVBC how the bin had ended up in the war-torn country. He said, "Hey, at Test Valley, BC, how did one of your wheelie bins make it all the way to Ukraine, and when is pickup?" That's okay, it's quite funny. The council, which covered Romsey, I assume Romsey's another borough. Yeah, Romsey's another place. Replied, "Hi, Philip. I've checked the notebook, but we don't seem to have a stock answer for this query. Can I ask where in Ukraine this is? I'd just like to make sure this collection address is added to our fortnightly rounds and not reported as missed. Oh, that's a little bit of banter.
Right.
That's good.
Very
That's
good.
Councillor Nick Adams King said, "It's good to see our bins are well travelled and to hear that it's still in use for the border guard station between Ukraine and Poland. Residents have been able to buy our bins for a number of years now." Get your tvbcstore.com. Go get your bins now. It's always interesting to see where they end up, even if collection does prove to be a bit of a challenge. I'm afraid I can't promise we will be able to deliver a new blue bin and food caddy to accompany it when we roll the new recycling system out. We love a little bit of bin banter, don't we? Yes,
We do. Binter.
and Binter, and that's the article.
So there's no answer. We don't know how it got there. We never
There's a
will.
bin in Ukraine.
And I'm going to go to the comments because there's 6 there, and I bet there's some real corkers in here.
Okay.
Yeah.
From Elwood, we have, "And the blight of entirely unnecessary and avoidable plastic pollution continues."
Oh,
Good.
That's
Cheer
Well,
up.
great.
it's not really pollution if it's being used as a bin.
Yeah, Jesus Christ,
No.
come on. Okay, that's a problematic comment. Thanks for that, Sutton Craig.
What did he say?
Oh, wait, no, maybe it's not. I'm going to read it. It came across as problematic. Maybe it's not.
Okay.
Some of those young, attractive blondes that British married men know so much about seem capable of this sort of crime. What does that even mean?
What?
What does that mean?
Has he commented on the wrong article?
What?
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 What the fuck's he talking about?
Is he
More
suggesting that someone has stolen a bin from Hampshire and taken it to Ukraine? Some
And
sort
that
of
even
blonde...
attractive young blondes could do it or something.
Bizarre.
That men know. What
sorry,
are you
his
talking
fault.
about?
His full name is Sutton Craig David Airport.
Okay. Normal man there.
It's an unusual surname, but there are a few of them out there.
There's 2 left. I'm going to go through them because these are actually quite fun. JSR says, "More chance of the bin getting emptied in Ukraine than back here."
Oh, very good.
I like it. More binter. Very nice.
And we finish on, "What a pathetic story."
I thought it was quite interesting.
How rude.
Get over
Just
yourself.
the visual of a wheelie bin that's come from the UK and is currently in an active war zone is...
Yeah.
I think
The
that's quite
autofill on the
interesting.
address completed the UK to Ukraine. I guess that's where the kerfuffle happened, and it got sent all the way over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe.
The United Cranedom.
Perhaps it was when people were voluntarily enlisting to go and fight in Ukraine. Maybe the bin was like, you know what?
Bin,
They
I've
might
gotta
need some
do my
help with
part.
their refuse. I'm gonna go. There it is.
Yeah.
I'm doing my part. Excellent. Thank you,
Absolutely.
Darius Owen Canning, for that wonderful tale of a bin, a worldly bin.
Peter, would you like to do your thing?
I would, thank you. My thing I've been meaning to do for a couple of weeks now because it's almost getting a bit dated and no longer relevant. I do it every year. It is time, everyone, for the top 10 jokes from the Edinburgh Fringe.
Hooray!
Yay!
It's that time again.
Delivered with the delivery that you expect from me each and every year. So I've gone to inews.co.uk because I was, as well as looking for the 10 best, I was looking for the 10 worst as well, which sometimes seems to get published, but not always. And I couldn't find a 10 worst this year, but I've got the 10 best as voted by Dave, the TV channel. But also in this, it has the previous winners, which we will have covered in previous years, but I've forgotten all of these jokes, so you might want to hear some of the previous winners as well. So anyway, we'll do the top 10 from worst to best, and believe me, the number 1 is not good. Amy
It
asked me,
never is.
yeah,
Okay.
well, yeah, most of the top 10 aren't good normally, but Amy was asking me, she sometimes says, what are you doing on Polyits today for your thing? And I told her, I'm doing the top 10 jokes. And she said, I saw the article for that a couple of weeks ago. She said, have you seen what was number 1? I was like, no, not yet. And she said, it doesn't even make sense. And she's right, it doesn't. So here we go. Number 10. My grandma describes herself as being in her twilight years, which I love because they're great films.
Okay. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that shouldn't be the credit of a joke if it makes sense. That's not what jokes is. Well, part of what a joke is should make sense.
It doesn't land, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
I didn't even crack like a half smirk from that. That's yeah, cool, good start. Yep.
That's from Daniel Fox. The next one is from William Stone.
Okay.
Number 9. Nationwide must have looked pretty silly when they opened their first branch.
Right, again?
Yeah, again, makes sense.
Makes sense.
What? Wait, I don't get it.
Nationwide, the bank brand, because if they when they opened their first one, they would have just had a single bank.
Oh, okay.
Not been
I can picture sort of a really dry delivery on that as the audience slowly works it out, and there's a long pause and there's a ripple of laughter. But it's not like a that's fucking hilarious.
No,
it's good. It's good.
It's good.
It's good. That's a decent one. It's good. I like it.
It's the best so far.
It is. 2, yes, it is.
And it's better than the number 1 joke, I'll tell you that. Bennett Aaron, his joke, I assume his, number 8. I entered the How Not to Surrender competition, and I won, hands down.
Okay. That came out of a Christmas cracker, but pretty good. Yeah,
it did, yeah.
By the way, we're being so flagrantly critical of this. None of us could do this, to be clear.
No.
However, as enjoyers of humour... I think we can still judge the jokes based on how funny they are.
Yeah.
As a man who laughs at quite literally anything, I'm using that as a benchmark. Like if I laugh,
score on the Johnsonometer? That's the question.
It's getting a resounding 0 decibels on the loud scale. It
how
got
loud
nothing.
Can Mikey laugh?
Yeah. Number 7 comes from Roger Swift. My friend got locked in a coffee place overnight. Now he only ever goes into Starbucks, not the rivals. He's claustrophobic.
What is that meant to be claustrophobic?
Yeah, that's the joke. He's
right.
now he got locked in a Costa, so now he goes to Starbucks.
Okay. Did the joke lead in say that he was locked in a Costa?
He was locked in a coffee place overnight.
Just a coffee place. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I didn't like that one.
Number 6 is from Frank Lavender, which is not a real name. How do celiac Germans greet each other? Guten Tag.
I like that.
Yeah, that's good.
That's good. That's a good one. That's fun. That's fun wordplay.
Yeah.
It's especially funny because my German aunt is celiac. So next time I see her, I can do that.
And she'll say, "No, Peter, it's Guten Tag."
Yeah, Germans famously quite good with their sense of humour, so I'm sure it'll go down very well. Number 5 comes from Masai Graham, who says, I thought I'd start off with a joke about the Titanic, just to break the ice.
Okay.
It's a bit done, that one. I've heard that. Yeah. Someone started a speech once at our school, which was, before I get started with my seminar, or whatever it was, my speech, can I just ask you, does anyone know how much a polar bear weighs? And there's just silence, and he went, enough to break the ice.
Enough to break the ice, yeah.
And no one laughed.
No one laughed.
No.
Okay.
If anything, the room grew colder.
Oh, no.
The next one is number 4 from Sikisa. If I'm saying that right. When women gossip, we get called bitchy. But when men do it, it's called a podcast.
Oh.
Okay.
All right.
Oh.
It's not just because we're doing a podcast, but that feels a bit mean.
Yeah, I mean, like,
feels a bit unfair.
Yeah. I don't think podcasts.
I mean, we are literally judging people's work in this.
We are
particular
now.
scene.
We're being really bitchy, but normally, I don't think we are necessarily.
But perfect timing. I'll give him credit. That landed in the perfect spot.
Yeah,
that was entirely their intention as well.
Fair enough.
Hashtag not all men. Am I right? Hashtag not all podcasts.
That's usually how that's used. Yeah.
Yeah. Number 3 comes from Amos Gill, who says, last year I had a great joke about inflation, but it's hardly worth it now.
It got an exhale.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I feel inflation's bad. The economy is bad, but the economy's always bad. That joke isn't necessarily relevant right now. It's always relevant. It's always been relevant.
Uh-huh. The next one's not a joke so much as It's not like something that's been written. This is almost an observation, if it's true.
Okay.
It's quite good, but it doesn't read like a joke. But number 2 comes from Liz Gutterbock, who says, the most British thing I've ever heard was a lady who said, well, I'm sorry, but I don't apologise. See, like I can picture that in a well-written bit of like observational comedy, but
Yeah.
it's not. It shouldn't be amongst these other jokes, really. It's not like a one-liner.
And you saved the best till last, right?
The best till last. Number 1 comes from Lorna Rose Treen. She won the Dave's Funniest Joke of the Edinburgh Fringe 2023 award with this joke that definitely makes sense. I started dating a zookeeper, but it turned out he was a cheater.
That's...
What?
Why is it a zookeeper? Why didn't she say I started dating a leopard or a lion or something? Because then at
A
least
big cat.
if it turned out he was a cheater,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I got confused because I thought it was a leopard, but it's a cheater. I started dating a zookeeper, but it turned out he was a cheater.
I mean, it's. I suppose it's not bestiality this way, but it does imply bestiality with the word.
Well, it's unintentional bestiality rather than voluntary. Yeah, I guess, but I don't know.
Again, that one feels like something you'd read on a penguin bar.
Yeah,
That's literally just a reworded Christmas cracker joke.
Yeah,
Like,
except it'd be about like being in a running race or something. Turned out
Yeah.
he was a cheater or something.
Mhm.
You know?
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to picture
spectacular as always.
a room full of people rolling about laughing, and the representative from Dave going, I think we've got it, writing it down.
Fantastic. We
This
want
is it.
that, and we also want 6 seasons of roughly 1997 to 2003 Top Gear. That's what we're running with now on
That's
Dave.
it. Just a handful of ones from previous years. 2022 was, I tried to steal spaghetti from the shop, but the female guard saw me and I couldn't get past her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Yeah, it's all right.
Olaf Falafel, I keep randomly shouting out broccoli and cauliflower. I think I might have florets.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. I like that.
Yeah, sure.
And I'll pick one from some years ago, because actually those two I will have obviously covered in previous podcasts. But here's one that we won't have done. Hedgehogs, why can't they just share the hedge?
Good.
It's kinda cute,
Doesn't
yeah.
hurt anyone. It's nice.
Yeah. And a Tim Vine one. I've just been on a once-in-a-lifetime holiday. I'll tell you what, never again.
Yeah. Again, makes
Yeah.
sense. Makes sense.
There we go. Oh, and here's actually, I will do the. I sort of quite like this one. This might be, I think, the funniest joke in the article. It's a groaner, but Nick Helm in 2011 won with, I needed a password 8 characters long, so I picked Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs.
Yeah.
No, not for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. This must be such a hard thing for you to bring along, Peter, because you just like you read this is your thing, and your response is yeah.
It's-
I mean, it's tradition.
It's like you're the
It's
one who's
tradition.
bombing on stage.
yeah.
And
It
it's
is
not
a bit,
even your
but
material.
I do feel that's, I feel like at least I'm naming and shaming these people. So no, it happens every year. People come to expect it. The number of people who've tweeted me over the past 2 or 3 weeks saying, "Oh, don't forget to do the best jokes of the Fringe this year." So people want to hear it. They want to hear the dead air on our bitchy podcast. So there we go.
It's not
That's
a bitchy
it.
podcast. It's just a podcast. That's
It's
what
just
it's
a
called
podcast.
when men.
Yeah, that's
when
right.
men
It's not
bitch.
bitchy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there we go. That's another 10 cracking jokes for another year. And
Fantastic.
I'll see you again next September.
More like Christmas crappers.
Whoa.
Am I right? Am I right?
You could win with that joke next year.
get-
Probably could. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go. All right. Get me in the fucking Fringe. Yeah. Wonderful. I do enjoy it. I think it's one of my favorite reoccurring things.
It's nice to know how out of touch I am, really, and what should be funny rather than like a fucked up meme of like a strange looking squirrel and then a strange font like stretched sideways slightly that just has a word that's misspelled, and apparently that's what I find funny. So
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
brilliant. Thank you, Peter.
You're very welcome.
It's time now for my listener submitted thing. This comes courtesy of Christian Sturt and Jareth Button. Thank you very much to both of you on Twitter. We turn to the Metro. Wrestlers brawl on packed Japanese bullet train as wild fight spills down middle aisle. This is written by Alistair McGeorge. Two hard-hitting professional wrestlers swapped the ring for the rail on a super-fast Japanese bullet train. Veterans Minoru Suzuki and Sanshiro Takagi fought for around half an hour in a wild match in a very tight space as part of an unusual event organised by DDT Pro Wrestling. According to JR Central, all 75 seats sold out within 30 minutes of the bout, which was held on the 180 miles per hour Nozomi Shinkansen bullet train between Tokyo and Nagoya on Monday. The duo locked each other in chokeholds and flipped each other down the aisle, which, when we're censoring each other at Triple Jump, means fucked. And fucked each other down the aisle as delighted onlookers filmed the action and cheered on the stars. The promotion, which is known for its innovative and often over-the-top bouts, has previously held matches in unusual locations, including a bookshop and a campsite. This time, DDT hired out the entire carriage for the clash, which saw Suzuki emerge victorious. Do you want to see someone being pile-driven in the middle of a train?
Definitely. Yeah.
Yes, please.
If you could put this on the dump as well, get a load of these boys.
Oh my god.
That's stunning.
Yeah.
That's great. That is, I had a picture of it, but yes, that is absolutely incredible.
It's
I'm
so
all
good,
for
isn't
this.
it? It's so
That's
good.
The guy on the
Incredible.
left sitting in the chair is loving it.
Just having
Hogging
the
very
best
hard.
time of his life. Here's another one where someone's about to eat an elbow. Look at that. Bam. Amazing.
They're both sort of smiling, it looks like, the wrestlers. They're really enjoying themselves
Having a
as
great
well.
time. There were plenty of
brilliant.
cameos from other big names in Japanese wrestling, including the legendary Kenta Kobashi, regarded by many as one of the greatest of all time. It was a very different kind of role for him here, though, as he popped up as a train conductor, hilariously interrupting the match to check some tickets. Naturally, the wrestlers weren't allowed to actually cause any damage to the interior, but they made the most of the environment, and some fans even stayed on the train for a more peaceful return journey. This actually looks like a badass match, wrote one fan on X, formerly Twitter, just Twitter, as clips of the match started to catch people's eyes, while another quipped, imagine just trying to get to work and this is going on, lol. Man, the penalty for not having a ticket is a bit harsh, joked a third fan.
Very good.
And someone summed it up perfectly as they wrote, this is why I love wrestling. Suzuki, who has also appeared for the likes of All Elite Wrestling, has a reputation for both the physical and silly sides of wrestling, and another fan said, that's one of 893 reasons why Suzuki is the best. So there we are. I've never seen any DDT Pro Wrestling, but I've heard of their exploits. I'm not sure if it's them or a different promotion. I'm sure I'm going to get a million wrestling nerds that are going to come at me now on Twitter, politely,
Actually.
hopefully. But one of them has a blow-up doll on their roster. And
Right.
this doll has won championships. And
I've seen footage of that.
if you can see footage of this, it's got a name. I can't remember what it is. If you can find footage of this doll in a wrestling match, it really just highlights what incredible athletes these wrestlers are, because they're basically just flipping around and making it look like the doll is doing wrestling moves on them. And it's
Yeah, it's
absolutely
very clever.
incredible. Very impressive. So, yeah, there we are. There it is. There's the doll.
It's such a good doll as well.
Does
Like
it have can we find out the name?
Oh, it's so monkey looking.
Yoshihiko by the looks of it.
Yeah, Yoshihiko.
Such a small. It's such a small image as well.
Yoshihiko
I
is an
expect it to
inflatable
get
sex
bigger
doll
when I
that
clicked on it.
that wrestles for the Japanese wrestling promotion Dramatic Dream Team, otherwise known as DDT. Other wrestlers treat Yoshihiko as if it was an actual human wrestler and sell the moves, mostly high-flying maneuvers, executed by Yoshihiko. For some moves, such as outside dives, Yoshihiko is helped by one or more assistants who throw him from the ring, place his feet on the ropes, and so on. Yoshihiko's opponents act as if these assistants are not present during the match.
In that photo, is he being held up by a stick behind him? Is someone holding a pole?
I don't know. Oh no! The original Yoshihiko was killed during a match by an Antonio Honda knee drop, which caused his head to burst open.
Oh, God.
I've pulled up Yoshihiko's like wrestling database with all these stats and statistics. Apparently they were born on December 25th, 2004.
Oh, Christmas present.
Yeah, they've been in 62 matches and have lost I'm looking through it's mostly defeats, but there was one draw.
Wow.
Oh my
So
god.
this article I'm looking at says that Yoshihiko was born on Christmas Day 2004 and then made his wrestling debut the following February, 2 months later. But I've got to read you this because this is the section titled Professional Wrestling Career on prowrestling.fandom.com. The second Yoshihiro was another love doll, this one modified to resemble the Great Muta. The second Yoshihiko also met an untimely demise when a giant swing delivered by Kenny Omega sent Yoshihiko flying from the ring, splitting his head open and revealing the cotton stuffing within. During that very same match, the third Yoshihiko made his debut. This Yoshihiko wore clothes similar to The Undertaker during his American Badass gimmick and entered to the same entrance music that The Undertaker had used. Then there's a sentence that just says, this version of Yoshihiko was later shot to death by Antonio Honda. I want to see that clip. I want to see the clip where the doll is shot to death.
Was the implication... I mean, my wrestling knowledge is not great, but was the implication that he was the second one was killed and then he immediately came back to life? Because wasn't The Undertaker sort of semi-undead or something at one point, or got out of a coffin? I don't really know. But
I'm not sure. It's just, yeah.
Maybe not, but amazing. Wow.
But there we are. Wow. What a colourful wrestling, hey? What fun.
And listeners should try and find some footage of a Yoshihiko match, because it is very clever. I mean, I'm not at all into wrestling, but watching someone on their own, effectively in a ring, get beaten up is, I mean, it's clever. You have to be good at what you do.
Yeah.
To make it look entertaining.
You certainly do. Michael Johnson, would you like to do your thing?
I would be delighted to. I have a tale of really committing to the bit. This is the story of a Japanese soldier who continued fighting World War II a full 29 years after the Japanese surrendered because he didn't know the war was over.
That's real commitment to the bit.
Oh my god. So, hero by name, but not really by nature. Hiro Onoda joined the Japanese army when he was 20 years old. And he was chosen, very luckily, to be trained as an Imperial Army intelligence officer. So not just your normal pawn in the army. This was like he was getting in deep and doing some covert espionage shit. That's army. That's army. Oh god, hell, I'm coughing.
That's army.
That's army. He was chosen to be trained in this specialized military intelligence training. He was specifically taught methods of gathering intelligence and how to conduct guerrilla warfare. He was being groomed to go in behind Emily's lines.
Did you go to school
to take her out?
And Emily Lines, we're going to stick to it, and be left with a small pocket of soldiers to make life miserable for Japan's enemies and gather intelligence in the process. Which actually, I mean, I'm saying that sounds fun. In the context of war, making someone's life miserable is not a good thing. So yeah, it's not like he was putting tax on people's chairs and making it hurt a bit. He was being a rotten boy. So on December 26th, 1944, Onoda was sent to Lubang Island in the Philippines. His orders from his commanding officers were simple. You are absolutely forbidden to die by your own hand. It may take 3 years, it may take 5, but whatever happens, we'll come back for you. Put a pin in that. Until then, so long as you have one soldier, you are to continue to lead him. You may have to live on coconuts. If that's the case, live on coconuts. Under no circumstances are you to give up your life voluntarily. So that's quite an imposing set of demands, but he took on the job, and boy, he really, really, really did his job well. So yeah, he got to the island, linked up with a couple of soldiers that were already there, and shortly thereafter, the island was almost entirely overrun by enemy troops. And when other officers that were given... Oh, I've done a jumble of words here. That doesn't make sense. So when the island... I'm gonna try and fill in the blanks here using my brain. When the island was overrun by enemy troops... Yeah.
You can do it.
Yep. Oh, that's it. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so basically some troops were already there, kind of didn't want to go along with the plan. The plan was to, like, while we're there, destroy the harbour and the airfield, among other things, but they were like, nah, I'm not doing this. Like, there's too many people here, so that, they fled. And so already numbers were dwindling in this fleet. The remaining soldiers split into small groups, but most of these small groups were quickly killed off. Oh, sorry. Oh, bless them. Onoda's group, luckily, were not. They continued to use guerrilla warfare tactics to harass the enemy troops as best they could, while strictly rationing supplies as well as doing raids on local farms when they could manage it. In October 1945, they came across a leaflet from the local islanders to them saying, "The war ended August 15th. Come down from the mountains." The group discussed this leaflet extensively, but eventually decided it was Allied propaganda because they felt that there was no way Japan could have lost so quickly since the time they were deployed. This is how long into it? Yeah, this is 1 year into it. Oh boy, of 29 years.
Ooh, that's a lot of coconuts.
God, there's a lot of nuts. Eventually, near the end of the same year, local islanders, fed up with being shot at and raided, so, for context, so, like, they were here to harass the troops on the island. The enemy troops fled, and so now this little small troop of soldiers were just shooting at civilians who lived on the island.
Right. 29 years of war crimes.
Yes. Yes. And then the local islanders somehow managed to rustle together a Boeing B-17 and dropped leaflets all over the jungle. So good going there, making an effort. Please stop shooting us. Please read our leaflets. These leaflets had the order to surrender printed on them from General Yamashita. And in the end, after again much deliberation, the wording on the leaflet pertaining to the method with which they would be sent back to Japan seemed fishy to them, largely because the wording made it seem as if Japan had lost, something they couldn't fathom. So when this didn't work, more leaflets were dropped with newspapers from Japan. Photographs and letters from the actual soldiers' families were included in the package. Wow. So they went the full mile, like, please, God, get these guys out of here. Delegates from Japan were sent to go through the jungle, speaking over loudspeakers, begging the soldiers to give themselves up. But still, they believed it was all just an elaborate hoax. And then, they put it on for 10 more years after that. 2 of the soldiers were killed in that time, which left 2 remaining. And so for 17 years, these 2 men lived in the jungle, continuing to gather intelligence and attacking the quote-unquote enemy troops when they could risk it. After all, remember, their orders were to stay put and do as they had done until their commanding officer came and got them. Mm-hmm. And they promised, and a promise, you don't go back on a promise. And towards the end of the stint, 27 years in, the other remaining soldier was sadly killed during a fight with a Filipino patrol. I say sadly. I don't know. This is ambiguous. I don't think these are bad people. I don't think they're good people. It's just a weird,
confused, paranoid people, I think, as much as anything else. But
yeah. But at this point, the Japanese had just kind of thought they had all already died, and they didn't think they would survive 27 years so long in the jungle.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. Yeah.
And then, obviously, with this soldier being killed, the body was returned, and they were like, "Oh, they're still there. We wonder if Onoda's still there. We should send out a search party." So a search party was sent out, but after 27 years of practice hiding in the jungle, they couldn't find him. They knew he was out there somewhere. Until, finally, in 1974, a college student decided to travel the world. Among his list of things to do on his journey was to find a panda, cute, the abominable snowman, and Onoda.
Right.
the big 3.
Just as rare as each other.
Yeah. He travelled to the island and trekked through the jungle searching for signs of Onoda. Shockingly, where literally thousands of others through the last 29 years had failed, this person succeeded. And so immediately they got in touch with the general in Japan who initially gave out these orders. who is now working at a bookstore, and they told him, hey, you need to tell this man you need to give this man permission to go. He's not giving up. Please travel there. And so his general traveled to the island, talked to Onoda, and told him to surrender his weapons and give up. And yeah, as you might expect, after living in the jungle, doing what he thought was his duty, helping Japan, and now only realizing he wasted 29 years of his life, and worse, killing and injuring innocent civilians. This was a crushing blow to Onoda, and his words were, "We really lost the war? How could they have been so sloppy? Suddenly, everything went black. A storm raged inside me. I felt like a fool for having been so tense and cautious on the way here. Worse than that, what had I been doing for all these years?" Oh boy, yeah, much to think about. Had circumstances been different and the war really had waged on so long, soldiers and people from both sides of the fight would have respected him for his courage and dedication, maybe. In that respect, he was more of a hero. However, the world wasn't the way he thought, and in the end, in retrospect, he was more of a fool than anything else. Ooh, quite scathing words from the article there. Jeez. Wow. I think Onoda's still alive as well, actually.
Right.
He's still out there. I think he did pay a visit to the island after he returned to Japan, but obviously they weren't really happy about that because he'd spent nearly 30 years shooting at them. Yes. So yeah, he tried to make peace, but they weren't too happy about it.
Oh, that's interesting. I've heard a very abridged version of that was literally just in 1944, a soldier was sent to the jungles in the Philippines, and he refused to give up when he was told the war was over, and they had to dig out the general who sent him out there to begin with, and that was the only way he would believe it. But I didn't know about they'd been sending letters from his family in there, and trekking into the jungle to find him, and
he's not the only person.
People have been dying over the years.
Because I misheard his name when you started this thing, Mikey, and so I just googled very, very generally, World War II Japanese soldier, stayed on island, and there's a story about another man who did a similar thing.
What? Right. Oh my god!
Well, there are sort of urban legends that I think are based partially in fact as well about submarines from World War II and U-boats and stuff that were underwater for very long periods of time, and not for 27 years, but they were underwater and kind of on active patrol for much longer than after the war ended, and then eventually they sort of realized, oh, okay, we can give up now. But yeah,
rough. But so if you're ever in this situation and someone promises that don't give up until I come back, maybe after 5 years, I think that's a free pass to go home, especially when you're getting letters and photos from your family. But that's quite a harrowing tale. My God. So thank you, boy, for listening.
Thank you, Mikey.
Yes, thank you very much. Peter, would you like to do your listener submitted thing?
I would. I think this was sent. We may have had more than one write-up for this, but the one that I have got is from Oscar X-Ray at Oscar X-Ray, spelt with various letters and numbers on Twitter. This is according to the dailyrecord.co.uk. Scott left stunned after Lewis Capaldi's face appears in bag of chips.
I'm excited to hear how they drag this out over 1,000 words. Let's go.
That's it. That's why we chose this write-up. A Scot has been left stunned after finding Lewis Capaldi's face in his bag of chips is the first line of the article, which is almost verbatim what the headline was. Andrew Thompson, 34, couldn't believe his eyes when he unwrapped his food to find the Someone You Loved singer staring back at him. The estate agent headed along to the Hippie Chippy on Broomland Street in Paisley.
Oh, Hippie Chippy. Sorry, there's one in Bristol and it absolutely slaps. Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's very good. Triple cooked chips, man.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Oh.
He went to the Hippie Chippy on Broomland Street in Paisley for his lunch on Wednesday afternoon before he made the discovery. The grease... There's a photo then of the... I've got to send... If you've not seen this already, I saw this on Twitter when it happened. Hang on. Here you go, Mikey. It's It's pretty good.
What? Yeah, actually. Wait,
It
what?
is him.
What? That's
I know.
uncanny.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Oh, that's actually quite unsettling. Yeah.
The caption to that image is, "The grease had formed in such a way to create an image of Capaldi." After getting back to his office, he opened up his chips and sent a picture of his meal to his partner. It wasn't until he looked at the picture on his phone that he noticed the patches of grease on his chippy paper had formed in a way that bears a striking resemblance to the West Lothian Star. I said that right. Lothian. I don't know.
Lothian, I think.
Andrew from Paisley told The Record, "I got back to the office, opened up my steaming chips and added red sauce. Then I took a photograph of my lunch for my missus, and that's when I noticed it." I couldn't believe it. It was Lewis Capaldi's face. The first thing I did was take a bunch of photographs. Then I showed a few mates around the office, and they were in hysterics. They've then also enclosed an image of Lewis Capaldi, just so we all know what he looks like. There it is.
They're the same guy.
Wait, no, those two are like this. Wait, no, those are the same photo, but one's just grease. No, this has to be photoshopped. I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
I wonder if it's Photoshop, but apparently there's physical evidence. I'll continue.
Kept the paper.
Yeah, he did. Pictures of Andrew's bag of chips show an image in the wrapper which appears to be an uncanny likeness of Capaldi's face with eyes, nose, and mouth perfectly positioned. Oh, there's then a very tastefully done photo where it's just paper and face. Very well composed.
Wow.
Andrew, who is a huge fan of the singer, now hopes to get the wrapper framed and sent out to the Star. So it must exist. He added, "I just thought it was great. I'm a huge fan of Capaldi. He's a funny chap, and I would love him to see this. I know he's having a hard time lately and he's taking a break, but if he ever does see this, I hope it will cheer him up. I'm hoping the image stays on the paper so I can frame it and try to send it to him. If you're reading this, Lewis, drop us a message and I'll send you your face in a bag of chips." Oh. Well, there we go.
That is very
That's that
good.
story. I'm a bit annoyed, actually, because I opened this article earlier. Oh, here it is. Oh, good. Okay, hang on. I opened this earlier and there was a terrible, like, spam advert, you know, where they pretend it's another article, but it's really just a sponsored thing. This is funnier than the entire article. Look at this. Three toxic foods for dogs. The one meat you should never feed your dog. But the photo they have chosen is horrendous.
It's quite a sultry photo of a dog,
it's
especially with the caption.
provocative.
Yeah, the one meat you should never feed your dog, the forbidden meat.
Is it a dog's ass by any chance?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I've sent it in videos.
That is... God bless modern journalism.
So good. Love the
Yeah.
internet. Love it.
So check the thread for a chip paper Capaldi and for a creepy photo of a dog looking... I'm reluctant to say sexy,
Suggestive.
but suggestive.
Yeah.
Suggestive, yes.
That's it. That's the phrase. Well, thank you very much, Peter.
Thank you.
That was sent by a couple of people. That was Tom Monk and Oscar X-Ray on Twitter who sent that one in. So thank you. Right. Well, it's time for my thing, and it's the Butterfield special,
Yay!
as promised. So firstly, we want to say a huge thank you to Tom Campbell of Cultaholic and BBC Radio Newcastle fame, who absolutely went above and beyond to hook us up with this chat with Brian, because he chatted to Brian on BBC Radio Newcastle to promote the Whitley Bay show. And they then asked if they could come back on again and promote it again. And Tom said, well, can't really do that, but chat with these guys and these guys could, give you some more promotion. And through that, I was emailing Brian's manager back and forth, and we eventually agreed upon the date. And we were all very nervous about what we're going to talk.
Wait, I'm sorry. So that's how it started. They wanted to go on the BBC, and then they got shifted to us.
To be
They've
fair,
been on
they'd already
already.
been on, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're the next best thing, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
There you go.
We
Yeah,
are
stick that on the poster.
The next best thing. So, yes, lots of emailing back and forth. We knew we'd only have about 15 minutes with him. It was just going to be audio. We sent over some questions for approval. If you've listened to it, you'll know that it kind of ends prematurely and a bit strangely. We didn't get to go through all of our questions, but partly it was because Brian sort of went off in directions we were not expecting. So we were just, it would be rude to cut him off. But yes, the time came. We're in the Zoom call. We added him in. Is this the point where we stop pretending that Brian is a real person and just
sure?
Okay,
yeah.
I think we can.
So Peter Serafinowicz was in the chat, and his name was listed as Peter Serafinowicz, and then he hopped in, but he wasn't making any sound. So I said, "Hi, Peter," and then Mikey said, "You might be on mute." At which point Brian Butterfield unmutes, and that's where the interview starts. We don't talk to Peter Serafinowicz at all. It's just Brian Butterfield for 18 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe we were talking to Peter Serafinowicz, but not talking to Peter Serafinowicz. Like, before the call, we had a little anxious, like, huddle, like, everyone's scared? Yep. And like, oh, well, we'll do, like, a couple of minutes of chat beforehand, then we'll get into it and kind of get a lay of, you know, how we're going to navigate this. Nope. So, like, I think you probably see on our faces, we're all kind of taken aback. Like, that was just genuine, like, oh, okay, I was starting. Good. Okay, let's go.
Well, because he ends up having to sort of start the interview because we're almost lost for words, and he says, "So, have you stayed in a Butterfield hotel before?" Like, I felt like such a bad interviewer. I was oh god, he's having to make conversation here. But because when Tom from Radio Newcastle spoke to him, he spoke to Peter Serafinowicz, both in the interview. First, he was speaking to Peter, and then Brian arrived in the background and they swapped over. But also before and after, he just chatted to Peter a bit, like out of character, I believe, you know, when they weren't on air. But in our case, no. Basically, apart from Ben saying, "Hi, Peter," you have heard the entirety of our conversation with Peter/Brian.
That was it. And, you know, the chat went great, obviously. He gave us some great lines. He seemed quite noticeably distracted throughout, to the point that it led up to where he sort of excused himself. Now, we've all discussed after the fact, maybe we went on too long, or maybe we did something wrong. I think we know that that's probably not the case. But he did suddenly excuse himself, and it was like, okay, we didn't get through our questions. Hope we haven't annoyed
you didn't
Peter
get to your
Serafinowicz.
question, Ben. Yours was a good question as well, Ben. I mean, they're all good questions, but yours was would have given a lot to play with.
Yeah, I was going to ask him about the Buttertendo sports console.
We do know that he's been traveling that day, I imagine, to the next venue of the show, because we'd arranged for it to be at a certain time, and then we heard from his manager. When we say his manager, we're not talking about Peter Serafinowicz. No. We're talking about someone else who also works with Peter. They said, "Oh, can we push it back a bit?" And then they pushed it again by another sort of 5-10 minutes and said, "Sorry, we've had the travel's been really difficult today." So I imagine they probably only just arrived at either the hotel or maybe even the venue where he was doing the show that evening. And so he may have literally had to go and sort of start getting ready for his show. Even.
Absolutely.
I don't know.
Or someone was calling him because he had just arrived and he was aware that they'd delayed this interview by like an hour and a half. And had to. Obviously, we're immensely grateful, and it was an honor to talk to him. Extremely surreal. Shame we couldn't finish up the interview the way we wanted. We did send over the questions in advance, but he still seemed a little bewildered by them. So I think one of you suggested that maybe he hadn't even had the chance to look at them yet, because sounds like the touring's been a bit hellish for him because they've been all over the place.
Where have you been this week? Yeah, and also wearing a fat suit all the time, sweaty.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I feel like there's a deep sense of dread in me that we caused Peter Serafinowicz mild inconvenience.
Yes,
by him being part of this call
to Brian Butterfield / Peter. I don't want that. But we Peter and I were going to go and see him in Whitley Bay, or Gravy Bay, as he said. Gravy Bay. And
Purcell Automatic.
Purcell Automatic.
I didn't appreciate that in the moment, but like on my cycle to work this morning, I was muttering that to myself over and over again.
Purcell Automatic. I thought that's what he said as well, but I was like,
that's why I asked for clarification. I was like, what does that mean? What does that mean, Brian? obviously a huge honor to talk to him, and we have now
Oh my God.
ticked off Dick and Dom and Brian Butterfield. So we're running out of people now. We need to
Ticked off, as in pissed them
Yeah,
off.
we're actively concerned that we've annoyed them now. So that's another one. And then, God, what else have we got? Then we went to the show, I suppose. That was the next thing. So myself, Peter, James, and Kieran from Triple Jump, we all went down to see the show. The Venn diagram of fans of Brian Butterfield and people who view Triple Jump / Vidiots, there's quite a lot of overlap, it turns out. So if you said hello to us, it was lovely to meet you. Thank you for being so
we met
nice.
About 4 different people. There was someone sitting behind us who we didn't notice until we got up for the interval, had a VS1 hoodie on.
No way.
Yeah, and then when we came to sit back down, I said, "Nice hoodie," and then we chatted for a few minutes. So hello to you if you're listening, and all his friends apparently listen as well to the podcast, but only just recently. And he discovered Brian Butterfield through us.
Oh, wow.
So there we go.
Amazing.
Hey, look, we're selling tickets. We're selling tickets.
We are.
The promotion worked.
The venue was full. It looked pretty sold out to us. So that was, we did that.
All
obviously.
thanks to
It was
us,
just us that
yes.
did that. But without going into spoilers, the show was fantastic and really good. It's presented as a business seminar. There's lots of pre-recorded clips. It's great fun. There's a few moments of audience participation, and we were a bit worried after our experience with Dick and Dom that it might attract a lot of those fans, the ones who try and make it about themselves and start, oh, it's my turn to do a bit with Brian when Brian just wants to get on with the show and everyone to just do their roles. Fortunately, there was only one of those, and they were a little bit unbearable. But apart from that, everything went swimmingly. We did put our hands up to go on stage at one point, and he wanted several people on stage, which is why Peter said, "You know what, fuck it, I'll do it." And I said, "Well, it'll be something for Podiat," so I put my hands up as well.
Well, that's why I did it.
And he looked straight at us, but maybe we were in a blind spot of the theatre, but he just picked people from sort of the central area, and we had our hands up for ages, and he kept saying, anyone else? And we didn't get picked.
He was really scratching round. He was desperate to find people, and and apparently the same happened with Tom as well. Tom said he had his hand up. I think that when you've got the lights on you on the stage, if you're off in the sort of the periphery of the audience, because we were off to the side, so I think you just couldn't see us.
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, the show was magnificent. You will enjoy it, Mikey, when you see it next week, and we look forward to discussing it with you and seeing how you got on.
Was he selling bonbons?
Yes. So the merch stand was surprisingly good. I bought myself a Butter Tendo t-shirt, which is shockingly close to the Nintendo logo, so much so that I don't think anyone should tell Nintendo because Brian might be in trouble. They were also selling bags of bonbons. There were tote bags with sort of a checklist of all the treats you can get for treat day. There were Butterfield Hotel monogrammed slippers. And there was the only other thing the diploma, Peter?
Yeah, I'll grab it. It's just here, actually. Show it to the camera.
It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. Look at it.
Yeah, the boys can't see it, but this is what it looks like if it will focus. So the merch seller will sign it for you, and you're basically paying for this diploma, which is actually quite nice quality paper and print. And then part of this is that Brian will then sign it in person with you. So it's effectively a ticket for the meet and greet is to buy one of these things.
Yeah.
So we did the meet and greet, didn't we, Ben?
We did, yes. So there was just this big queue that formed after the show, and Tom had said to us beforehand that he had a verbal agreement with Peter Serafinowicz that he should come say hi after the show, and he had his contact details as well. So Tom sent him a message and said, "Hi, Peter, I'm here. Would be great to say hi," but obviously Brian Butterfield was being funneled directly out to do all these photos and meet and greet things for people who bought the diploma. And Tom had also said to us, "Look, when I go and see him, just come with me." And I'd brought my copy of Dark Souls 2 with me because Peter Serafinowicz does a voice in that game and is a fan of Dark Souls. So when we were looking at the queue, oh my God, is this the queue? Tom was in it, and Tom is the most confident man in the world. And so if anyone was going to meet Brian Butterfield without purchasing a diploma, because no one was checking if anyone had a diploma in that queue. It was going to be Tom, and Tom was like, "Nah, I'll be fine. You know, I've already spoken to him, and I think his manager is the one taking the photos, so like, it'll be all right. It'll be all right. You should. Do you want to hop in with us?" And I was like, "Absolutely not, because that would be pushing in front of people, and that's really rude. I'm not going to do that." And he said, "Well, you know, go join the queue. Go join the queue. It'll be fine." And I was thinking, I don't know that I need to do that. Like, I feel a bit apprehensive about taking the piss, and also what if he doesn't remember and I don't have a diploma, and also I did talk to him for like 20 minutes the other day. That's pretty cool. I don't need this as well.
And did we piss him off?
Did we piss him off?
Be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, it's you, boys."
Yes, he breaks character and
too much of my
swears at
time.
us. So in the end, I decided to just very selfishly weaponize Tom's confidence and just gave him my thing and said, "Listen, I'm not sure about doing this. If you take this Sharpie and this sleeve of my video game, would you get him to sign it?" And he was like, "Do you want him to sign it as Peter or Brian?" And I was like, "Honestly, I don't mind. It's the same thing. It'll all be good." And he was like, okay. Yeah. And then we're standing off to the side, me, James, and Kieran, while Peter joins the queue, and he's like all the way snaking around this corner in this massive queue. And then Tom was in the queue with someone else a lot further up near the front at this point, and he comes over to me and says, that is his manager taking the photos, so it's going to be absolutely fine. You join the queue. And I was like, "Oh man, I don't know." He's like, no, it's going to be okay. Listen, if I go and do it and then I come back, you'll know it's fine, so you need to do it. And I was like, sure, okay. But I was just sort of paying lip service. I was just, you know, I still wasn't sure about doing it. So then Tom comes back and it's signed. He's got the signed Dark Souls 2 copy, and it says he signed it as Peter Serafinowicz, and then in quotes underneath he's put which I assume is a death sound in Dark Souls 2. I don't really know. And he said, "I told Brian you're coming," and I was like, "Oh fuck." He's like, yeah. No. I said that the Vidiots were here, and he said, "Oh, they're here," and he said, yeah. You know, he's going to be disappointed if you don't come. And I was like, fuck. So then Tom went off, and I turned to James and Kieran and said, "Do you want to meet him?" They said, "Yeah, go on then." So at this point, no one else was joining the queue, so we went to the very back, and I didn't feel like I was taking the piss as much. None of us had a diploma, but, you know, we were at the back, and apparently he remembered who we were, at which point Peter left his point in the queue and came back and joined us. We all queued up, and then when we got to the front, we met him. It was clearly very hot.
We were the very last people in the whole foyer at that point.
Yes, everyone else had gone home. We were the last people, and it was obviously super warm. He must have been exhausted. His face prosthetics were peeling off his face.
Oh, man.
And I said, "Hi, Brian. I'm Ben. We spoke on Sunday." And he went, "Oh, Podiots." And I said, yeah, that's it. And he goes, "Of course. Gravy Bay."
Of course.
And he
Bay.
calls back to Gravy Bay from our chat.
Oh my God, he doesn't hate us. He doesn't hate us.
And that quote, "Of course, Gravy Bay," has just been, Peter and I have just been saying it to each other all day, because just the inflection.
I think there's so much relief attached
and the
to
way
it.
he says it, it's like, it's just become a shorthand for like, basically saying yes or of course, just Gravy Bay.
Gravy Bay.
So he stayed in character the entire time again. We still didn't get to talk to Peter, but he took a photo with all of us. And then we went. So we got a photo. We got to chat with him. He signed my copy of Dark Souls, and we interviewed him. We spoke to him twice in the course of a couple of days. Spoke to Brian twice, and Peter Serafinowicz 0 times.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm just looking at the photo, and yes, his forehead is dripping in sweat. Yeah. But you two look positively beaming.
We're having the best
we look so happy. Yeah.
The relief in those eyes, it's incredible. Yeah. Oh, I'm so excited. Oh,
Gravy Bay.
Yeah, bless him though. Imagine doing a whole show on stage, sweating, and then having to meet people, continuing to sweat and put on the character.
Yeah.
We thought
what a
we
hero.
might be able to get him to break character, but we were discussing it in the queue. The first thing we were going to say, and the first thing we did say was, "Don't worry, we're the last ones. You know, hi, thank you so much for talking to us. We spoke to you the other day." But no, it was just Brian. He's a true professional. It was Brian all the way through.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
And but his manager as well recognized us, or knew. I sort of asked him by name. I said, "Oh, are you said the guy's name who we've been dealing with, and he said, "Oh, are you the Vidiots? Are you the Vidiots?" So clearly it's not gone down terribly that we kept.
Oh, but how do you say it? Oh, are you the Vidiots?
Vidiots.
Gravy Bay.
Of course, Gravy Bay.
Gravy Bay.
So yeah, that was our Butterfield adventure. Very exciting, and I hope you get to have a chat with him, Mikey, as well. If you're getting a diploma, then that's fine. But yeah, if you say you were with Vidiots and you chatted to him last week about the Whitley Bay show, let us know if he says Gravy Bay.
I you know what? I'm gonna put my phone, get the voice memo recording on it and try and record the interaction, and so I can get a sound.
That's a good idea. We should have done that.
Yeah, we should have do a little video. Well, we were gonna maybe have solo photos with him and stuff, but we didn't want to outstay our welcome, so we all just jumped in for a joint one, and and then let
you bought one diploma, you get one photo.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. And honestly, it was amazing. It was everything I'd hoped for, and I was saying this to Peter as well. It's super surreal because we've been doing Brian Butterfield impressions for 7-ish years, 6-7 years, and that's based on a handful of 2-minute sketches. And we've been subjected to an 18-minute conversation with Brian Butterfield, then a 2-hour stage show of Brian Butterfield. And so I'm kind of worried that we're just going to be doing Brian Butterfield impressions just solidly for 3 months straight. We already pissed off Ashton today, and she's only been in one day. It's only been one day, and she was like, "I'm fucking sick of you guys doing this bloody Brian Butterfield impression."
It's not even quotes from him all the time. Sometimes it's just if you're saying a silly thing while you're streaming or whatever, you just seem to do it in his voice. And just now when I described someone telling the ice break joke at a speech at my school, I accidentally used the word seminar.
Yes.
So he's clearly got into our brains.
Honestly, it's a bit like AI learning in that we have so much more Brian study material now from which to pull inflections and mannerisms and his voice. Gravy Bay?
Gravy Bay.
Gravy Bay. So there we are, everybody. Go and see Brian Butterfield if he's coming to a town near you, because he's Purcell Automatic.
Purcell Automatic.
He's fantastic. Well, there we are, everybody. That was Podiots. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate you. Mikey, I believe there's some sort of shop.
You're gosh darn right. If you head over to vidiotsofficial.com and click on the lovely little shop button, look how tantalizing it is. We sadly do not sell diplomas and bonbons, but we do sell a lovely array of t-shirts, mug, hat, hoodie, and stickers. Go have a look. Treat yourself. That's vidiotsofficial.com/shop.
Shop, absolutely. Shop. Why not go to our YouTube, our Twitter, our Facebook, all.com/VidiotsOfficial. We also have a...
I forgot to...
/Vidiots.
We'll splice it together in the edit.
Yeah, great. Yeah. We've also got a Discord, vidiotsofficial.com/Discord. Thank you to Tommy and Fleckers who mod us there. Go check that out. I haven't checked in recently. I don't know if the potatoes made it onto news yet. I assume it hasn't.
Oh yeah, I don't think any of us tried.
No.
Oh yeah.
So, whoopsie. Well, we'll try our very best, but it looks there hasn't been a potato posted in a while.
No, is he eating it?
So maybe, yeah.
It can be friends with Viney Jones.
Yes,
there you go.
It can.
Yeah. Last update, the potato was 11 days ago. So
oh no,
I'm gonna assume the worst.
Assume the worst. Twitch.tv/VidiotsOfficial. We stream there extremely rarely. We will let you know when we're next doing a live stream. We should get one booked in, but we say that every time and we don't. So maybe at some point, who knows? Podiots.com is where you can go to donate and support the show. £3 or more gets you a shout out at the beginning and the end of the next episode. You join Pod Squad, you support us in the process. Can we have the Pumpy Platoon, please?
We begin with Viney Jones, The Office Grape, Finn Tristram, Raindrop Joy, Fred Found What, Lord Woodpunch, Mikey Tavich, Donak 07, Stephen Skodes, and Domino's Pizza.
We've also got Podiots are here, Time to Wank, Hetty Bobetti, Petite Poistin, Ben Potato, Mike Cauliflower, Peter Pois, 2 months juice cleanse no poo, and anti-saxes.
And finally, we have mandatory saxinations. Take Benadryl to see Hatman. Take PCP to see DBP. Mr. Macca, the very generous Anna Silverstone, and the equally very generous Stiff Bristles. Thank you so much to all of you for supporting us this week on Pod Squad. Podiots.com. £3 or more to get a shout out at the beginning and the end of the show. We'd really appreciate it. Peter, can you tell me what's out on Vidiots this week, please?
I can. This week on Vidiots 5 years ago, we have got You Want a Blowjob? Prop Hunt Part 2 with Hat Films. Post Tat number 30, This Is a Heart Attack. Heroes in Training, Marvel Spider-Man Part 1. Worst Games Ever, 50 Cent Bulletproof, one of our best performing Worst Games Ever.
Oh, people loved that, didn't they? They loved that being in there.
108,000 views, that one.
Damn.
Boundless Stream Highlights, #ad.
Oh, yes. It's 5 years old.
Everyone loved that
game
one.
Celebrated its 5-year anniversary this year.
It did, yeah. Get Out of the Way, Overcooked 2. The Dunster Vlog, Arcades, Fish and Chips and Castles. Memories. Heroes in Training, Marvel Spider-Man Part 2. Podiots Episode 15, Get the Flump. Post Some Tat number 31, Poop. Good subtitle there. Marvel Spider-Man in Real Life, the live-action finale. Worst Games Ever, Hulk Hogan's main event. Peter gets hit by a car.
Oh, blimey,
whoa.
big one.
Oof.
Yeah. And I think finally, yes, Neil's Masterpiece, Art Attack PC. That's another classic.
Fantastic.
I love Neil's Masterpiece, one of my favourite videos.
So many of these I haven't watched since we made them. We need to get another stream booked in so that we can do some live reacting.
We do.
I know. It's
Is
coming.
Yeah.
So I mean, not within any specific time frame.
November's really
but it's
busy for
coming.
me. Maybe we'll do one before Christmas. How's that sound?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do one
Yeah, a
before
little
Christmas.
Christmas.
We'll get some new merchies up there. We'll find something from the Vidiots days that we can auction off, because that's usually what we do.
Yeah.
We'll come up.
We've got to pay for our presents.
We do.
I'll take something off my shelf, maybe.
Yeah. It won't be something that you guys have sent to us, but we'll find something.
No.
I've still got the piece of cake. We could set, or we could auction that.
Yeah, we could auction that.
The little wooden cake. Yeah.
We've got nothing left.
Just memories, Mikey. Memories.
That's true. That's true.
Michael Johnson, where are you on the internet?
At Parrot Boy on Twitter and also on Instagram. Those are the best places to keep up with my doings and goings and comings. And not the comings.
Not the
just
comings, just the doings.
No,
Not the comings. Not the comings.
And Peter, where are we?
We are at Team Triple Jump together, making video game related content, especially Worst Games Ever. That's still going, and we do some silly cooking, video game cooking, and lots of things. You can also find Ben on Twitter at confused_dude, and me at that Peter Austin on Twitter, and also on Instagram and Threads as well.
Yes, absolutely. Why not leave a 5-star review on your platform of choice? It helps something to do with Al Gore's rhythms, and we'd really appreciate it. It costs you no money to do that, and it'll help us out, probably. I don't know. Maybe. Does it matter? I don't know. It'll make us feel good. Go do it. Thank you. Do we have a final question before we fuck off?
Ooh,
If you could automate some kind of clothes washing detergent, what would it be?
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
We've got Persil Automatic. What else should we have?
Persil Automatic.
Yeah, let us know. Right. Thank you so much for listening / watching, guys. We'll see you in a couple of weeks' time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.